Woo! My God. What a Tuesday.
It definitely is a Tuesday.
What's up, everyone? Everyone. Joining us tonight, we have David Clayton of North Carolina, along with Big Sarge, Admin Tim, and down there in the corner is Admin Matt. And over there's Doug, but he's in a drum lesson or something.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm a big fan of your content.
What? Oh, thank you so much. I am following Empathy Tour on YouTube, that's your channel, right?
My YouTube hasn't grown that much. I've been so busy. I don't really get a chance to post much content over there. I started off going viral on TikTok, and then I went through the rigmarole that everyone who is anti-Trump, outspokenly anti-Trump, goes through the ban circus of having your account banned and taken down. And just 2 seconds before this live, my main account, Empathy Tour on TikTok, that has been banned for almost a month and a half now, just got restored. Just moments before this live. So my main account with over 500,000 followers on TikTok just got restored. So very, very happy for that, because that just kind of came out of nowhere. I did have to create another account, and that one, the community is being very kind and following me over there. I've got, I think, 120,000 on the second account over there, and then I've got another 500,000 on Instagram. And I'm just, I was actually speaking to my campaign manager for my congressional campaign about this tonight. It makes me emotional. The community that we all build on our channels here, that we're all like-minded, that we're all everyday Americans, and we just want the best for the country. So, it makes me, things like that, with everything that's bad that's happening in the country, makes me proud to be an American, knowing that there's millions upon millions of Americans out there that actually give a damn.
We are no stranger to being shadow banned on TikTok.
And sometimes actually banned.
Sometimes. We were hitting tens of thousands, 100,000s of views on some of our videos, and then just overnight, 60, 150, 200. I was like,
It's doesn't feel very much like free speech these days, which is, ironic, seeing the Charlie Kirk followers and things of that nature, where Charlie Kirk, even though I didn't agree with what he had to say or his stances, his big thing was freedom of speech. So it definitely seems apparent that when a side that opposes you and against you is crying out for freedom of speech, remains silent when it's your speech that is being stifled and kept down.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't feel very free to me.
Right.
The hypocrisy has definitely been on display.
So, and it's kind of the design. I've said for a long time now that MAGA is a lie, that I am more than happy to sit down at my table with Republicans, traditional Republicans, people that I even disagree with on things, and talk about things that are affecting everyday Americans, and have agreements to disagree about things. But this MAGA movement that is just a malicious influence campaign that is specifically developed to divide our nation is apparent and it's obvious. The things that are happening today across the country, that everything Trump campaigned on, price of groceries, price of fuel, price of small businesses and what they're paying in export costs and import costs because of his tariffs, all these things. Nothing he has promised, he's actually addressing. And then we've got this, militarized police state where every Republican I've ever known, every 2A Republican I've ever known their entire life has been saying to abolish ATF. But now you got these MAGA guys that are applauding seeing ATF walking these streets, throwing cuffs on anyone that's brown or black. So how these people just went from taking their hard stand on "Don't Tread on Me" to just cheering on fascism in our streets, while prices of everything still goes up, is just beyond me. But
it's almost like they were just using. Joe Sergeant Doug here. It's almost like they were just using "Don't Tread on Me" and 2A and the Bible and everything else as an excuse for being racist.
yeah. Unfortunately, a sad realization, which I'm positive, that the black and brown community have already known this, is that our country is incredibly inherently racist. And I've said for a long time now, especially the hard right wingers that are just kind of really being emboldened by this outward racism thing, is that Trump didn't create these people. They were always there. He just gave them permission, and that's a sad fact. And it's something that I don't believe all Republicans are like that, but there are a lot of them that have come out of the woodwork, and man, they are being very, very vocal in their racism beliefs. And it's just unevolved, and it's uncivilized, and it does nothing for the growth of any nation when you try to divide the nation's populace because you don't like the color of somebody's skin. It's complete antiquated thinking, and it does nothing for the growth of a nation.
Now, can you tell us about yourself for those people who have no idea who you are?
Well, I appreciate that. I believe you're a veteran, correct, sir?
I am, and so is Drill Sergeant Doug.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
a token civilian.
Thank you both very
We're
much.
like the token around here. Everybody else.
Thank you very, very
Jamie.
much for your service. I come from a long lineage of military service. I am not a veteran myself, even though I'm constantly thanked for my service and constantly typing out online. I am not a veteran. I have never, nor will ever claim that honored title. My family served. My civic service. Yeah, well, that's just me. That's just me trying to get rid of as much of the gray as I can, because at 46 years old, it's starting to come in. But I was raised around military, a lot of friends, a lot of family. So I absolutely go out of my way to state clearly that I am not a veteran. My civic service is to help and support all those that have served, all those that have, in my opinion, have already earned this life. The fact that today we've got active duty standing in food bank lines, and veterans, 250,000 veterans homeless on the streets. I spent 2 years of my life driving the country. I crisscrossed the nation 7 times, 33 states, and I helped to date 312 homeless veterans, and a lot of them were late night conversations in talking them off of the proverbial ledge, trying to drop that 22 per day number down as much as I possibly could. It's something that has always made me feel guilty, coming from a long lineage of military service, that I didn't serve myself. And I felt, well, it should be every civilian's civic responsibility to care for our nation's veterans, of those who have. And because of that, because my advocacy work and my proposed legislation to house homeless veterans, called the Character by Integrity Act, I've gained a very large military community following, both in active duty and veterans. And I've made some incredible lifelong friends. I've got 3 friends right now serving in the Foreign Legion over in Ukraine. They've been there for 2 years. They've come back a handful of times and shipped back out, and still fighting the good fight, even though when they come home, there's no added benefit for them. They just believe in freedom to their core. I've lost friends over in Ukraine. I've lost friends in Afghanistan. So it's something that's near and dear to my heart, that because I didn't serve, and there's so many brave men and women that did, and our nation has just forever ingrained in all of us how much we care about our troops, and then we see them on the side of the street, and we just walk past them like that's just the way it is, and that's unacceptable to me. So I took my life savings, I sold off everything I owned, and packed up a couple Husky waterproof containers with toiletries, fishing poles, ponchos, sleeping bags, pop-up tents, and I just started passing out survival gear, because DC wasn't doing a damn thing about it. I went to DC. I walked all 7 floors of the Longworth building and tried to petition my Character by Integrity Act. And I was met with just the same old boilerplate blow off of, oh, the representative really cares about veterans. Like, then do something about it. So now I am running for office in North Carolina's District 5. I'm running as an independent because the district is so gerrymandered, and there's just simply not enough Democrat registered voters to win. That's why the district currently has an 82-year-old representative, because she's gone undefeated, because it doesn't matter if she's never done anything for this district. The people out here in polarization will never get the necessary Republican votes to ever check a Democrat box, but they will vote for an independent. So that's my strategy going into it. I've got a lot of long-term plans. And I don't want to be a career politician. I've said openly, I've got a 2-term plan. I want to be in there for no more than 4 years. I want to go in. I want to call out and catch all the corruption, legalize corruption today, thanks to things like Citizens United. And I want to put it out in the open and actually make the people's house transparent and what's going on behind closed door meetings and bribery sessions. And then I want to institute some long-term plans that in my second term, once I've called out all the people on the take, that it won't matter who is the majority power holder in office, which political party. Like Republicans are the super majority right now, and we've got to shut down government. I want long-term solutions where it doesn't matter who the back and forth is of the political party. Things like a budget accountability act I want to put in place. If we had a budget accountability act, the one big beautiful bill wouldn't have been able to make $1 trillion cut to Medicaid, because the first thing that would have been on the chopping block for any proposed cuts would have been government departments and programs that have never passed audits, like our Pentagon, like our DHS. If you want to make tax cuts for the rich and you want to cut government spending, then that's fine. You can propose all you want. But the Budget Accountability Act says that you have to cut things that can't pass audits first. Things like Medicaid, things like Social Security, all those things routinely pass audits. So why are we making cuts to programs that help Americans and letting the actual waste, fraud, and abuse just skate by? So that's kind of my 60-second vision of what I want to do. I don't want to be President Clayton. I don't want to turn into an 80-year-old politician. I want to go in. I want to pave the way forward for our younger generations to then come into office and make this country how it should be behind me. But until we root out all this corruption, no one stands a chance, not even any future president.
Now, District 5 is in North Carolina. If I'm new to the state, sort of. So District 5 is on your eastern side is Greensboro, and then it's like the north band of mountains encompassing Wilkes County, Mount Airy, Boone, and there's like one other kind of major town, but I can't remember what it is.
Lenore,
basically like
Lenore, yeah. Boone, a piece of Winston-Salem, just a piece of it, and Greensboro, and then up north to Mount Airy. It looks like a key, basically.
Yeah, like reverse Oklahoma.
It looks like reverse Oklahoma. That's probably the best description I could say. And no, I'm actually thinking of Idaho right now, right, with the Qatari pilots coming in. But yeah, over my dead body, we have Qatari F-15s flying above us. That's absolutely absurd.
I did some Civil War history research, and Wilkes County is one of the things that I have been studying at various points with the Wilkes County War, which was after the Civil War. Might as well have been a continuance of it. I don't know how familiar you are with that.
No, yeah. North Carolina was the last state to join the succession, and they were on the fence. They were on the fence of it, in part because they were honestly afraid of the black population down here, because the black population is huge, and that's why the GOP gerrymanders it in such crazy lines that they do.
Yeah.
There's a very, like, in my neighborhood in Lenore, I'm the only white guy out of probably a 10-mile square block. And I tell you what, I was talking about this with my campaign manager earlier, because I get death threats. I'm sure you do too. I'm sure we all do, for just being anti-Trump and online. And I told her, oh, there's a random car I don't know coming down my street. And the second I look in the driver and I see it's either a black person or a Latino person, all that anxiety of like, all right, do I got to get my piece ready, goes away. If it's a white guy I don't know driving down my street, man, I am like Johnny on the spot, ready to go. Like, what are you doing down my neighborhood, bud? But that's kind of a sad fact of the state of the nation. You know, they're trying to categorize anti-fascists and Antifa as terrorists, and they're trying to say anyone that's anti-Trump or even utters the word Epstein is against us and hates America, and anyone that is no kings hates America. It's like, what in the hell do you think the Revolutionary War was fought over? Of course, no kings. How in the hell can you say with a straight face, Mike Johnson, that you are hating America if you go to a no kings protest? Like, it feels like we're in the upside down some days.
Mm-hmm. Who is currently the? Sorry, I got one more. District 5 question. Who is currently the representative for District 5?
82-year-old Virginia Fox. She was on TV next to Mike Johnson today.
Everybody knows who Virginia Fox is, right, chat?
And
if you don't, you can Google it real fast.
And I'll tell you a couple quick little facts about her. One, she supported Donald Trump denying the FEMA extension to Western North Carolina for the cleanup for Hurricane Helene. Two, during Hurricane Helene, there was a frontage road that people from Western North Carolina were trying to use to escape down the mountain from the hurricane, and she locked the frontage road because it came within eyesight of her property. And this area is ruby red, so the people that she endangered by locking that escape route were most likely her own voters. These are the type of people that we're dealing with that really do not care about not just their constituents, because a district's constituents is made up of everyone, unaffiliated, Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Green Party, everyone. But this lady was locking a frontage road gate on her own voters. That's how much they don't care about them. She supports the One Big Beautiful Bill. There's going to be, I think it's 785,000 in statewide North Carolina that are going to be kicked off of Medicaid in 2026 because of that. And somebody jokes and said, you know what? I mean, don't even worry about debating her, because she's never once showed up for a debate or a town hall in 20 years in office. But people are saying, you know what? Just have a foot race with her, and the person that crosses the line first should win.
Just have a shooting contest. She's
no. Her skin will beat you.
Yeah. No, it's not even a matter of.
Will beat you.
So some of the older population has been critical of me starting off my videos saying 82-year-old Virginia Fox, but I stand by this, that if you're old enough to vote to take away Social Security from people, then you shouldn't be allowed to vote on that if you can collect it yourself.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, these people, I do believe in term limits, even though I know it's going to take those that are benefiting most from these dinosaurs that are in office voting to create term limits. And that's why I have a 2-term plan, because whether we want universal health care or we want firearm reform, which I am a 2A household, trained and proficient, and I believe in reform across the board. I believe that truly responsible owners do support reform, because not just any jackalope should be able to, fire an RPG just because they can buy one. They should be at least proficient, like you gentlemen that had to go through certifications on different platforms. if we want any of these things, if we want to get the foreign funded organizations out of politics like AIPAC and or organizations that are even home based like the NRA that has been funded by Hungary and Russia, if we want to make any of these positive changes in long lasting governance that will actually help the American people, we got to get rid of this corruption, because the corruption isn't even being hidden anymore. It is legalized because of things like Citizens United.
So, sorry, go ahead, Doug.
So I had a question and a clarification. So, first one, I'll start with a clarification since we started talking about that old hag that you're running against, racist piece of shit who loves to talk down to black women and black men like they're her slaves. Fucking piece of shit who thinks that the reason why she doesn't have to show up to any debate is simply because she knows that they would rather have her there than the black person who should probably be representing the thousands of them that live there.
I agree.
That's why she doesn't have to do anything. So I wanted to say this. In realizing that the reason why she doesn't have to do anything is simply because we know, and we've realized that it's not about the price of milk or carrots, it's not about gas, and it's not about tariffs or anything else, or the flag. They know, and she knows, that the only thing is keeping power. That's it. What is the plan, the strategy to let folks know that, hey, you're not losing power by gaining an independent. You're not losing power by throwing away an old racist who would close down her doors and her road so you don't pass in front of you. I think it's very important to look at it strategically and honestly. If you're not mentioning that, if you're not speaking to those white folks who will continuously, because the black folks there have all checked out. Maybe you can get them to come. Maybe that's the strategy. But I know that many of them who live there realize that they're not. Whatever they do will be downtrodden upon because of the need for power by the white people who would rather see a saggy-skinned racist and never have to speak to her than know that a black guy around the corner may just have the same rights that they do.
Right.
Can you talk to that? How do you talk to that honestly and strategically?
No, that's a very valid question, and I mean, you put it succinctly, is that the white people in the district are fearful of power, and a lot of it has been fear mongering by the GOP base, saying that, you know, the marginalized, the black communities, the Latino and Latina communities are coming after you. And here's the fact of the matter is that a lot of these people have voted primarily because of this fear mongering, because they believe that Republicans help them if they vote. But historically, the data doesn't lie. Republican policies have never helped even their own registered voter base. Economically, on healthcare, across the board, retirements and savings and cost of living. But they have, the GOP has been so focused on so long, not about solutions, but about highlighting or spotlighting enemies, whether it's black people, whether it's Hispanic people, whether it's LGBTQIA people. They have to have their base focused on somebody to hate, to take their own eyes off of their own shortcomings directly caused by GOP policies. So my message to the Republican base, the voters out here, is, you know what? I understand the polarization. I understand you can't bring yourself to vote for a Democrat. I get that. I'm not a Democrat. I'm an unaffiliated independent with progressive principles. that also believes in being fiscally conservative for the betterment of lives for all constituents, not just one side of the aisle or the other. And progressive policies, I'll have to, spell it out, but progressive policies are fiscally conservative. We got this Doge and everything going on with Donald Trump and Elon Musk and everything, and we haven't stopped any wasteful spending. Hell, the government shut down. We're still spending billions of dollars to Argentina or to Israel, or spending $200 million on a ballroom, or spending, $1 million per day per unit on National Guard that are being fought in court. And then there's all the taxes that the federal government is using of our tax dollars to fight these court battles. So the biggest thing about, I understand the power dynamic, but at the end of the day, and we're seeing this argument across, especially on immigration, across the world, right wing political parties are really putting up a big fuss everywhere in the world, not just here, about mass immigration. Here's why they're doing that, is because they are soon to become, the white people are soon to become the literal minority in population. Our world, when I was a kid, I don't know how old you gentlemen are, but when I was a kid, our world's population was 4 billion. We're just about 8 billion now. And this was half my life ago. We were at 4 billion. Our world is exploding in population. And the sheer fact of the matter is that these white only kind of communities or mindset is so outdated, and there's nothing that they can do to stop it. As much as they can carry out unconstitutional measures or oppressive measures, sooner or later they are going to have to come to terms with that we are all one shared community, because there's just too many damn people on this planet. And that's the whole thing about racism. It's really emboldened and pushed in this old antiquated mindset of keeping power, when it doesn't matter what you do, how oppressive you are, what you try to set it into law, you're going to lose the racist game in the end. There's simply not enough of you to compete against all of the people that are exploding worldwide. That's one of the things I've always found kind of both simultaneously sinister and comical about this racism war, is that you're basically, I see it as a death rattle. And I think I see it as, that's why these policies are so extreme right now, is because it is a death rattle. They cannot win this war in the end of, white only bullshit. And to see the things that are happening, like Pete Hegseth and removing, Black Medal of Honor recipients and things like that, is absolutely shameful and disgraceful to actual patriots.
Well, they're telling on themselves when they do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like it. I like
so
that.
My message to my white constituents is that everybody needs to stop hating each other. And I have this message of we need to get away from this tribalism politically of left or nothing, or right or nothing, or blue or nothing, or red or nothing, and for darn sake, get back to the red, white, and blue, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of sick and tired of loving my country, but only ever seeing our country really, truly come together and unite after some kind of disaster or tragedy. Wouldn't it be a great freaking country to live in if we could all just have massive block parties just for the hell of it, instead of celebrating the anniversary of a disaster or some shit? I mean, I think the American people are kind of tired of being told which of their fellow neighbors and countrymen and women to hate too.
Remember Hands Across the Country?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, we're burned out. We're exhausted.
Yeah.
We definitely have fatigue and trauma from just generational trauma now, from years and years of the sensationalism and they latched on to using the fear, fear, uncertainty, and doubt in order to win elections, and in order to elicit contributions, and the result is that they have constituencies now that hate each other, are afraid to spend money, so our economy's shit, and we're just all in paralysis. So it's not benefiting anybody except for the top 1% and the people that keep
Well,
getting elected, like Virginia
wait a minute.
Fox.
Wait a minute, because I want to get the second part. I want to get to the second one, the question or the observation. I forget which one was which, but I think that the reason why, Asia, that happens is because it works, which is
Yeah.
why I think, sir, what you hit on before of the population growth, the fact that the strategy of trying to keep power over every other race is a losing one. In order to keep power, you have to realize that your only option is to start seeing everybody all together.
Yep.
I think
To,
is a
to,
more
to
win.
adapt and bring everybody under one tent.
I think that could be a more winning strategy than saying, "Well, we're too divided." Because
Of
I don't
course
think
it
they
is. Yeah.
cared. But I think if you use the same tactic of the fear of the whatever it is, like what you should be scared of is not that you're being, not that you're being replaced, but that you're refusing to join the winning team.
Well,
Like, you lose in the end if you don't start thinking this way instead of the other way. The other way is a losing way.
Exactly.
And that is my plan and strategy. Is I want to bring everyone under one tent to really embolden that feeling of the red, white, and blue again. But I will say this. It's a strategy that is, I really believe it's working. Just looking at the registered party totals, I did a post on it today, where you're seeing unprecedented numbers of people registering, leaving their prior party, be it the Republican or Democrat Party, and re-registering as unaffiliated. You are seeing an unprecedented amount. My guard dog. You're seeing an unprecedented amount of people becoming unaffiliated because they are so sick and tired of this back and forth. They want actual representatives that put people and policy ahead of any party or organization that's donating to that party, be it Republican or Democrat. I mean, the nationwide, the total number of unaffiliated voters is just barely under the combined total of both the Democrat and Republican Party. So unaffiliated voters nationwide is just about at that precipice of taking over combined Democrat and Republican. And here in North Carolina, I did some numbers today, and it's like 1,303,000 is registered Republican. 1 million, or is it 2 million? Sorry, 2 million. Yes, 2 million. 2,303,000 are registered Republican. 2,393,000 is just over is actually registered Democrat. But the unaffiliated is like 2,000,000, 100,000, 500,000 more. It's like 2.5, something like that. It's actually the total number in North Carolina unaffiliated registered voters is more than either the Republican or Democrat. So I think that really speaks volumes to where the people are at, because you can't have this MAGA or nothing or blue no matter who mindset anymore when you get representatives in their 80s and 90s. That are obviously trading stocks and making themselves wealthy. Even younger ones like Marjorie Taylor Greene. She started off from Georgia, a net worth of $400,000, and only after 4 years, even though she campaigned on Drain the Swamp, after 4 years, she's worth something like $30 million. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, in 4 years, she went from 400 grand to like 30 million. So there's so much corruption and there's so much work we need to do to make American lives better. but we're never going to be able to achieve any of them. And any future president is never going to be able to have an honest, honorable, and successful presidency until we clean up the corruption in the legislative branch. Because if everybody's on the take, they're not representing you or me. They're only representing themselves and their donors.
I will forego my second question actually because that took so much time. I forward my time to Matt, to the honorable Matt.
I yield the balance of
I yield the balance. I yield the balance of my time to Matt.
Yes, Matt is far too nice for the rest of us. So please, Matt, go ahead.
I was actually going to ask about specifically about the corruption, about what your plans are to address it. You touched basically on the stock trading.
Excellent.
Let's hope you could expand on that and tell us about it, as well as what else you'd like to do to combat corruption.
Absolutely. Stock trading needs to go. And I was actually in D.C. not too long ago, and I interviewed Rep Magaziner, who has a bipartisan bill with someone I'm not a fan of, Chip Roy, to ban stock trading.
Oh, I hate Chip.
I can't stand Chip Roy either. He was afraid of coyotes in his backyard. That was his excuse for not having a lockbox for his guns, because he's terrified of coyotes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, real manly man right there. So I do appreciate that they are both Democrat and Republican introducing some kind of stock ban legislative. I don't think it does nearly enough. I want to see stock bans that incorporate family members as well, because we all know that they, skirt lines and do workarounds on any piece of legislation that's passed. So if we pass a law that says that they can't do stock buys, that doesn't mean they're not going to slip their significant other insider trading information, or their cousin or their nephew or their uncle or whatever. Any family members or vested business partnerships needs to carry over on the stock ban buys. So if you are a member of Congress, you better hope that you don't have a business partner on the side, or a wife or someone that's hoping that you will pass them some insider trader information. We also need to actually enforce laws on insider trading, because insider trading is enforceable outside of an elected position, but the elected officials do it all day long, and just because they're elected official, it's not punishable. That makes no damn sense to me. I believe that we need to change things up as far as things like the FTC and the FEC, and actually enforce laws, instead of giving, it seems, our politicians a pardon before they've even committed a crime. I think that we need our politicians to be held to the exact same standard as every single other citizen.
Absolutely.
Instead of claiming no one's above the law, and then seeing these people break laws and never pay any consequence for it. Donald Trump, prime example, found guilty, 0 sentence. How are you found guilty of breaking a law and getting no punishment for breaking that law? 0 sentence. And all that does is set a precedent and tell a message to the rest of the country. Feel free to go out there and break the law, because obviously the law.
Oh, no. That's not what that message is saying. What that message is saying is that certain people can feel free to break the law.
Well,
but
you're absolutely right.
The message that he's saying is that the oligarchs can break the law, the wealthy can break the law, white people can break the law.
Yeah.
But if you are not of those people, if you're not in the country club, right, you go directly to jail, and you can rot there while
Black
you're waiting for your trial.
Do not
Correct.
follow that rule.
Yeah.
You are black.
Yeah, true.
That's right.
True. No, absolutely. And we also have another problem with the class system, with the wealth, and our judicial system, rich people can just prolong court cases indefinitely without seeing any consequence of finality, whether they're punished at the end of it or not. Where an everyday citizen
will rot in prison waiting for their day in court.
Before even
they are innocent, and they are still waiting in prison because they haven't had a hearing yet.
But you got people like Steve Bannon, who actually got delayed.
Ghislaine Maxwell, let's just say she's convicted and she's in a country club.
I'm honestly, and I really think that eventually all the dominoes will fall, even if Pam Bondi, who will be found guilty of covering this all up, just like Nixon's attorney general went to prison.
Yep.
But Donald Trump really believes that he will be safe even if his name is redacted from the files. But there's no honor amongst thieves and liars. And you name one or two person that is in the files that is some rich oligarch guy, they're going to turn on everybody. They're going to bring all the house of cards down. So whether they redact, everyone's afraid that well, they may release the files, but Trump's name won't be in it. I promise you, the names that are shown will bring everybody else down and have their own receipts.
Well, see, I'm not sure I buy that, because Jeffrey Epstein knew all the names, and he went to prison, and he sat there and died in prison, and no names were revealed. So, and he was a rich man. He was part of the country club.
Yeah.
So there was an opportunity there that never happened.
There was also
So-
a message there. If you're in
Right.
danger of talking, maybe you're going to have an accident.
Right.
Well, and it's a lot bigger than I think a lot of people realize. Is that
Yeah, it is.
we've got world leaders involved with this. We've got MBS, Saudi princes, princes from the UK, people from many different countries, Sweden, all over the place, involved in this. And I look at these heads of state shaking Trump's hand at the supposed Gaza peace deal, and I'm just thinking to myself, man, there's got to be some backroom private communications going on there. We're saying, hey, don't worry, your secret's still safe with us. We've got it all under wraps. This is really big, and a lot of people who argue it, I don't know if they're AI chatbots in the comments, but who say, well, so what? You want to just bring down the whole world? If it means taking these people out of positions of power and holding them accountable for what they did to literal children,
Yes.
hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
We will
It's
pick
also
up
telling-
pieces after the fact, but there is never a justifiable reason to allow that kind of shit to continue.
It's also telling that, both Epstein and Maxwell, were the only people to face any kind of consequence for this.
That's right.
And there is no way you are moving people all over the world without a whole network
Right.
of people. Not even the world leaders and the country club members. There's the staff. There's the staff that had to be complicit in this, that had to move these girls.
And not only that, I try to remind people about this subject that just because that one network was shut down with the death of Epstein and with the imprisonment of Maxwell does not mean that the perpetrators involved in that stopped their actions right then and there. They went and found other resources to fulfill their sick, twisted needs. So this stuff is still happening today. 2 new children today.
Yeah, it's they started to move away from their proclivities. So that means somebody else has stepped into the Epstein role and is supplying. I remember them saying that the position of the DOJ under Trump is that Epstein had just procured the girls for his own interests, and when the viral comments in response to that was, and Pablo Escobar was just getting cocaine for himself.
For himself, right?
It's just a little bit to take the edge off his busy work day.
All right. We definitely have some major issues we're dealing with as far as corruption and immorality, and the destroying in real time of democracy, and our I'll never call it the Department of War, but the Department of Defense. Thankfully, we're starting to see some pushback on norms from even Fox News and these other press pools that are saying, no, we're not going to sign a loyalty pledge to the defense of Department of Defense as far as approving what we're allowed to report on at the Pentagon and stuff like that. So thankfully, we're starting to see some pushback. It's a little bit too late, too late, in my opinion. It should have been from the start. And honestly, we never should have even been at this point where Donald Trump was allowed to come back into power. But we're here now. And what we need to do to move forward is we got to call out the corruption. We've got to reinforce, especially if you're in a gerrymandered red district. I highly recommend other people that are thinking to just fight back and change this vicious cycle we're in and run as an independent,
Speaking
run
of
unaffiliated.
Speaking of gerrymandered red districts, what do you think about what's taking place in North Carolina House right now about them taking a look at the maps again?
I posted about that today on my socials. You know, they can and they will. There was some talk about the senator, his son wanting to run for a House new district that they're going to create out of thin air. That doesn't impact me in this district because this district, District 5, is already ruby red with Virginia Fox. I need Republican votes to win. I cannot win on it as a Dem ticket. And the only way I'm going to earn those Republican votes is by running as an independent because they will never vote for Dem. So it doesn't impact my race, even if they try to create new seats and chop up the map. But my state, anyone who lives here knows that it's already gerrymandered to hell and back.
Well, I read the news and I was like, how much more power do they need? I mean, do they actually just want to like start lining anybody that's not Republican up against a wall? Because at the last election, they ran a Trojan horse in Trisha Cotham, and you know, she ran as a you know, tried and true Democrat, right? Pro-choice Democrat. And as soon as she got in office, she flipped as a Republican,
right,
into a Republican to give them the veto-proof majority, so she could literally take away women's autonomy.
Yeah.
So it's proven that they will do anything, any kind of dirty tricks to steal the will of the voters away, because and they took away the government's stripped away the governor's authority, right? The vice governor's authority, the
Board of Elections.
Board of Elections, the Attorney General. They tried to steal a Supreme Court justice seat, or a court justice seat. So, like, at this point, I've been telling people, North Carolina is, people don't talk about it, but we have the most corrupt legislator in the country.
Right. And so, I honestly believe there needs to be national federal law that supersedes all of that and classifies that as what it is, election interference. You should not legally be able to run as a party and state your policies to win a seat to then immediately flip and go to the other side.
You can't recall. You can't have a recall election on Cotham.
Let me. I want to piggyback off of Matt's question.
Right. I'm sorry.
No. It's all part of corruption, right? But specifically for what you're going to do, I want to piggyback off of his question and bring up what you brought up about Epstein and the almost impenetrability of the rich people, of the people who are in power that cannot seem to be gotten, right? Or at least as much work has to be done to penetrate them is a lot. So you said you wanted to only do 4 years. You want to run for 2 to call out the corruption, the next 2 to try to put in place guardrails to ensure that as much of it doesn't happen again. Here's the question. Knowing that if your first 2 years, when you get in, because we're all going to make sure you get in.
Oh, yeah.
When you get in, the first 2 years is spent calling up the corruption. And we also know that many of the people you work with that you're going to need to help you sign these bills to build guardrails are the people who you're calling out.
You're right.
I think, or I'd ask, or I'm wondering, how feasible, how plausible is it to just say, I'm just going to be there for 2 more years when you're going to have to build back some relationships or wait for new people to be voted in, or whatever it is, whatever the mechanism, the logistics of being able to build these guardrails and get it passed.
Right.
You're actively destroying in the first 2 years, because we know that most of those people who are corrupt are the people who you're going to be calling out, are also the people you're going to need to build the guardrails. Right. I think that I want to know what your plan is for that. I want to know if there's an idea that maybe you can stay longer, or if you have something that I'm not thinking about that could happen in those next 2 years in building those bridges.
No, it's an absolutely valid question. How do you form allyships when you become the capital's enemy?
Right.
And the capital is in power. The corrupt are in power. They won't stay in power, especially in the House of Representatives that run on 2-year terms. If I call them out, I am going to dedicate my time to getting them fired and calling them out in 4K to get them replaced in the next term cycle. Now, I want to be crystal clear about this. Just because the majority of members of Congress are corrupt, be it legal corruption or illegal corruption, in my ethical standpoint, they're one and the same. Some are classified as criminals, some are classified as, well, as Citizens United, and that's law, so that's still okay. That to me does not make it okay. That does not mean that every member of Congress is corrupt. That does not mean that I won't be able to form allyships with specific caucuses. I've even said, hey, if you are a Republican candidate and you're actually a true to your word, traditional, conservative, fiscally conservative Republican candidate that has solutions that you believe will make American lives better, come talk to me. I'll review your platform. And if I agree with it, I'll give you an endorsement. Just because you're a Republican and you're different than me doesn't mean that I'm not. If you've got plans that are actually going to help Americans, doesn't mean I'm going to say no to you and just ignore you. The problem is that this MAGA thing is just kind of convoluted and taken over the Republican Party at this time. And if you're not for Trump and MAGA and just saying yes to everything, then you're not Republican anymore. And that's just simply not true. We're seeing millions upon millions of Republican constituents nationwide that are standing up and are leaving MAGA because they're tired of this already. And it hasn't even been a year yet. But back to your question. So how do I make allyships? How do I get legislation passed if I'm creating enemies? And the sweet answer to that is those enemies aren't going to stay in power very long once I do call them out. The power of the people. And the power, I mean, we've seen it with the power of the people and what they're capable of when we see videos of people acting inappropriately or businesses treating human beings wrong. My dog is going crazy right now. I don't know why. Can you actually excuse me 1 second?
Check for white people in the driveway.
Freaking problem I deal with too.
I
It's
don't
everywhere.
know. I don't know why, but just out of nowhere, my dog got the zoomies. He was just chilling, and then he was acting like there was going to be an earthquake. But he's
White people coming up the
Aw.
street.
he'll be fine now. His white people coming down the street. That's exactly it. He's like, Dad, we don't know that car. It's a white guy. Get your piece. Yeah. No, it's crazy to think about. And that's actually, it sounds kind of crazy to say that out loud, but I see a black person in the car. I see a Hispanic person in the car, and any kind of anxiety I have is immediately gone. And that is just, it's such a weird kind of thought to just realize that, like, for all of the fear mongering that's out there from the racists and the race baiting and stuff like that, it's like, dude, it's not the black communities I'm worried about coming on my property. It's not the Hispanic communities I'm worried about coming on my property. That's the fact of the matter. Anyway, back to enemies versus friends. I can make allyships with people, and the power of the people can be brutal and call out once transparency and a spotlight is actually exposed, not just on the representatives, but who is buying the representatives off. What specific CEOs, what specific corporations, what specific entities, and then that catalyst of we the people that love to just bully the shit out of bad actors online. Social media can either be your best friend or your biggest enemy. And we have seen it with the explosion on social media and transparency and accountability on holding people accountable. So I'm not so worried about playing their game by their rules and saying, like, well, I need you, even though you're corrupt, I need you to help me vote on this. Now, if you're corrupt, I'm going to call your ass out. I'm not going to bend a knee to you. If you're corrupt, you're going to bend your knee to we the people, because the people are sick and tired of this shit.
I like it. I like to also apologize, knowing that you're going to need Republican votes. All of the saggy skin jokes I made and the rants that I made about their person in office, it will be clipped and used against you. I apologize for that.
Hey, you know what? I am the oldest 46-year-old anyone will ever meet. I'm boring. I don't have any skeletons. I can run a mile a lot faster than Virginia Fox with her walking cane.
There we go. Okay.
And for people of her age demographic, which is drastically dropping off, I actually want to help you. I was the caregiver for my mother up until she passed away.
There you go.
I had to do things and take care of things that no son wants to see. Private, intimate things, cleanings. But there are millions upon millions of families out there that are having to do the exact same thing because they can't afford, in-home nursing care and things of this nature. We do these things whether we like them or not because we love our family members. And if we are supposedly the richest, greatest nation in the world, why in the hell are our elder citizens living this way? Why in the hell are our children with special needs and disabilities fighting just for basic standard of life? I mean, isn't everyone just sick and tired of being told how great we are without actually seeing the proof in the pudding?
Certainly. And that does lead me into my next question. We have a number of people both on the panel tonight and in the comments from North Carolina. I think at least a couple are out in your district. And I'm wondering what your pitch is to them, this opportunity to speak directly to them on why you should be their next representative.
Who are we talking about here?
I think we're talking about someone right over there, somewhere right.
I'm on my phone, so I don't think I'm seeing what you're seeing.
Well, we've got a number of admins that are in North Carolina. We've got a number of our staff.
I'm one of them.
I was just one of them, and of course, Big Sarge. Though Big Sarge is not.
Gonna out me like that for all the MAGA clowns watching. They're like, "Oh, we know where he lives now."
Oh yeah, they're gonna search the whole state for you now. Just watch for the car with the white guy in it. Just it's just simple. It's simple.
Easy peasy.
In my neighborhood, actually,
Yeah,
So
the two crazy North Carolina gingers are rooting
So
for
what
you.
is the question again?
So the question is this. So we've heard your position on a number of things, what you want to achieve, and what you're kind of fighting for there. So bring it all home. So what is the overall message to the voters, the elevator pitch, the 30-second spot? What is the thing that sets you apart that makes you the next ideal representative in the state of North Carolina?
Sweet and simple. We need to bring back the definition of the word representative. And in this district, in many districts, in many states, there are too many claiming the title of representative that only represent themselves, their family's generational wealth, their stock portfolios, their backdoor, closed-door bribery meetings. There are not enough true representatives anymore. We need people held accountable that will actually have the balls to say out loud on the House floor, calling out their fellow members of Congress for what should be illegal activities, should have the balls and the courage to call out corruption by foreign funded organizations and who they're buying off. But it seems everybody is just tiptoeing around saying the clear and concise message of what is happening today because everyone's afraid of missing out on a payday. I was born poor, I will die poor, and I will still live a more substantial life than the wealthiest of wealthy.
Very well put. Thank you. So in that same vein, you've talked a bit about wanting to be able to reach across the aisle, be able to work with a number of people. Are there any individuals that you see yourself? Yeah, Big Sarge. He's got a refill to do. Who do you see yourself as naturally gravitating towards that'll be able to be receptive to this message, open to this idea, willing to build this, call it an anti-corruption coalition within the House?
AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Absolutely. I love Bernie. Bernie doesn't pose enough solutions. That's the straight fact of the matter. He says that we all deserve and need rainbows and unicorns, but he never says how to get there. I love Bernie, and Bernie is an amazing warrior, civil rights advocate. He has spent his entire life. It's time for Bernie to retire. Pass the torch to AOC. AOC is one of the few representatives that has the balls to challenge her own party when her own party does things wrong. I wish she would do it more. I think I'm feeling as she's progressing in her career that she is having to restrain herself more and more to play the game. And I think she actually would benefit from someone like me going up and, pardon my French, fucking shit up to clear a path for her to be able to go in and do more.
I will not pardon your French. I will welcome your French. Please, more French.
I essentially want to be the sacrificial pawn to not destroy the system, but to call out the wrong happenings within the current system so it can be fixed. And I think and again, this falls under my 2-term plan, and why it may be, kind of an overwhelming task or audacious or, seem a little unrealistic, but man, if you don't try, you never get anywhere. And if we have a voice in there that can be censored for breaking the rules because I name drop specific individuals of specific organizations tied to specific representatives, and that breaks some kind of decorum house rules, I'll wear those censures around my neck like a badge of honor. If you have a representative that hasn't been censured today, they're not representing you to their fullest.
Facts. I love it.
Absolutely.
What do you think about impeachment?
Absolutely, but nothing's going to happen as long as this corruption prevents it all. You've got this, is completely subservient on their hands and knees to a wannabe dictator. He's doing everything he possibly can to be a dictator. He's not quite there yet. I'm sure you gentlemen, former military, know that he's skirting the lines of that ultimate unlawful order as far as his power reach goes. I do fully believe, speaking to active duty and a lot of my veteran community, that if that ultimate unlawful order is given to fire into crowds of people, that the military will split. I think it was a complete overestimation of their power of Hegseth and Trump to pull all our top brass into that one room for that meeting. I think that really overplayed their hand, and they lost a lot of faith by our top brass. I know there's a lot of Trump loyalists in our military, but I believe in my heart that probably 70% of them are honorable to the Constitution and their oath. And when it comes down to it, they will split off from any kind of unlawful orders like that. I truly believe that. I know a lot of people don't because they're seeing DHS, which is military, it's federal.
It's not even federal. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. These guys are barely even contractors.
Well, I know none of them have any T's and P's, and probably hardly any of them are ex-military themselves in the way they're conducting themselves. A lot of them are alleged to be Proud Boys or J6ers or all these other people, and you can see it in their actions. But I mean, as an agency versus the Department of Defense versus a government agency like DHS, I do have faith in our military. I hope it doesn't come to that. I would love to see an impeachment before that, but.
Well, I guess
you've got establishment Dems that don't want to sign off on an impeachment.
Well, that's the question.
Because of their donors are the same donors that are paying the MAGA people.
The question is, are you going to sign it when it comes to when you're there?
Absolutely.
You're going to sign it. You're going to vote for it.
Yeah. No,
regardless of whether or not you think,
Yes, zero hesitation. I will sign it. I will openly call Benjamin Netanyahu a war criminal. I'm not going to play these games like Cory Booker just did on that podcast, where they can't just answer yes or no to basic questions. Impeachment of Donald Trump, yes. Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, yes. AIPAC is corrupt and buys off both sides of the aisle, yes. Qatar should not have any even training on our domestic soil. Yes.
Wow. How hard was that?
Yeah, I'm not going to pussyfoot around and play games with basic questions just because I'm worried about what donations are going to be pulled. Because that's the biggest damn problem. It's not supposed to be about what donations you may or may not lose. It's supposed to be what's best for the American public.
Yeah, why do you even take the job? Really?
For the donations.
Right. No, well they obviously take the job because they have $400,000 when they walk in, and 4 years later they have 30 million.
While and ironically, not ironically, because we all knew she was full of it, but her entire campaign, both terms, was drain the swamp, and then she shows up to Biden's State of the Union wearing that white fur coat and probably cost her $10,000 right there. I mean, they are the swamp. They've always been the swamp. But let's not fool ourselves. There is a swamp, and it is on both sides of the aisle. That doesn't mean everybody, but the Citizens United was one of the most devastating things to happen to not only our governance, but our political system, because it took what was formerly openly illegal and made it all legal.
Speaking of Congress and money,
chance of having that overturned? Like, corporations aren't people, money isn't speech, because I can't kill a corporation, and money, the more money I have, the more speech I have. Does that mean that you take my money away, you take my speech away?
No. So Citizens United should be overturned. Each person should have freedom of speech and have an individual voice. But to say you're a corporation that has a micro economy and controls the economic downturn or upturn of a town or a state just by being a singular entity, your freedom of speech shouldn't be able to control complete political dynamics as far as that. So I'm not talking about restricting freedom of speech at all. What I'm saying is what you're able to do. Freedom of speech is not buying politicians. That's not freedom of speech. If you're Google or you're Twitter or you're anyone, Palantir, God, get the hell Palantir out of our government.
They're watching. You can talk directly to them.
No, I know.
Hey, Palantir.
He's kind of right.
Fuck you.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Palantir, off topic, but I'll circle back. Did you know that in the middle of the government shutdown, Palantir was just awarded yet another government contract? Can anyone tell me how we're still awarding contracts?
How many more are there?
Shutdown?
Oh no. Well. Excuse me.
Israel is also an essential expenditure, by the way. So you know, we're not paying our troops. We have to come up with, Trump ordered Hexet to come up with funds in the Department of Defense, which should be easy. But we're still sending funds to Israel. We still sent that $20 billion bailout to Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
We can't pay the troops.
But we can't pay the troops.
But
we can afford his $1 billion golden ballroom that nobody asked for.
$200 million golden ballroom.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't pay our troops.
His Rose Garden renovation, transporting the previous umbrellas at the White House from the Rose Garden down to Mar-a-Lago, because now he's just openly taking shit, the people's shit, from.
Are you kidding?
From the White House down to Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
Please stop telling me new things today. Okay, I've reached my limit.
And for those who missed it this morning, there was the revelation in his Twitter that, or not Twitter, his knockoff Twitter, that he wants to create a new Victory Arch monument in DC.
Yeah, that's been proposed. Just like was it France?
So
Paris.
Yeah, it's France had him. The Romans brought him to popularity, but it's drawing controversy because the design he's taken appears to be very heavily inspired by the one that was drawn up in Nazi Germany.
Oh wow!
They had planned to erect as their victory in World War II.
Well, then there was that story that just broke about the young Republicans text message exchange where they're like cheering for Hitler and all this, and it's just like, I mean, I've long said that one of our country's greatest failures was pardoning Confederates. We gave Confederates back their lands. And turned them into governors of their states and things of that nature after the war. We have done some serious damage with the pardon power over the centuries, and it's just getting worse. Trump was speaking to the president of Israel with Netanyahu in the crowd and told the president of Israel to give Netanyahu a pardon. Because all these guys are crooks worldwide, here and at home. And the one thing that everyone needs to realize is that we do have a symbiotic relationship with the world. And when something happens here, like Trump is messing with the tariffs and economies and shit like that, just so that he can, have his son short a crypto stock and make $80 million in 2 hours.
Thank you for pointing it out.
It affects the rest of the world too. And it's not a game. None of this shit is a game. And people like this should never be allowed to ever be put in power. And I'll say this out loud. I was a lifelong Democrat. I am an unaffiliated independent now, especially because of the district I'm running in and my race and wanting to work for all Americans and getting us back to this red, white, and blue instead of one side or the other. But I'll say out loud that not a single Democrat elected official had the courage to say there should have been a hand recount demanded in the 2024 election because every single swing state is bullshit. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I'm my last thing, and then I will. What's the word, Sarge? I relieve the rest of my time. I yield
the balance of my time.
I yield the balance of my time to the panel after this. And what I'm going to talk about here is going to make what we've been talking about seem like sunshine and roses. So sorry to bring it down, guys. Another thing that happened during this shutdown is the U.S. Department of Education went in and fired pretty much everyone in the Office of Special Education and Rehabilitative Services. These are the people who deal with, people who need special education, children, infants, and adults with disabilities.
I have a child like that, yes.
I teach children and adults like that.
That's right.
I watch the faces light up when I'm teaching them, but my teaching is mostly private and very small classrooms, and it's only reinforced by where they go after or before me in my class, which is all supported by this ideas initiative. That is that I think special education and rehabilitation services. I just want to know your thoughts, your ideas. Have you heard it? It's something that is extremely important to me. And I don't know if anybody else knew that, but it's just so horrific to see that that's where they're going in the midst of a shutdown while not paying service members. They find the time and the effort and the the will to wake up in the morning to go to work to fire that entire department to ensure that children with special needs, disabilities, will be thrown away in the trash.
My response to this is absolutely un-American. It's absolutely abhorrent behavior. And for all the self-proclaimed Christians, it's absolutely un-Christ-like. There's one thing that all of us should always agree on is that the kids should always come first, especially the underserved kids, be it from a low income or be it from having special needs. Anyone that turns a blind eye to abhorrent, despicable actions like that doesn't help the rest of the country by any measure. You can't even argue that that cut would even impact our budget by any measure. It's just harmful. It's evil.
A rounding error.
They still kept the budget.
It's but they fired
those
people.
They fired everybody who's being paid by the budget, and
because they're trying to completely close down brick by brick the education department, which helps Americans. And even that WWE Secretary of Education said it herself, is that the younger generation is becoming brazenly literate. And they don't want that. They don't want the kids to read. They don't want the kids to learn. They see education as a threat because education creates critical thinking. Critical thinking challenges people in power. They don't
said brazenly literate?
Brazenly literate is what she said.
Brazenly literate?
Brazenly literate. They don't like that the kids are reading more. I mean, just contemplate that for a second. The Secretary
the whole
of
point
Education.
is cradle to grave wage slaves.
Right.
Cradle to grave wage slavery. And if they can eliminate the wage part of that, they would be happy with it.
And they want to increase the poverty to prison pipeline, especially in marginalized communities.
Correct.
Because, circling back again, corruption with things like private prisons and what's it called? Geo Group, things of this nature. It's all about corruption and money with these people, and it is innately evil within themselves.
They need to feed that legalized slavery that they've got going on.
Right.
Putting those people to work and then farming out those contracts for a little percentage to their friends in certain industries.
Right.
It's just right there out in front of you.
It's really bad, and I know a lot of people are looking for hope, and I try to remind everybody because we continually get overwhelmed with this news about how bad things are. These abhorrent, absolutely vile actions and behavior from this administration, as well as people that have pledged undying loyalty and fealty to this administration, from local elections and positions to state to federal. And the bit of hope I can tell you is that, yes, sure, it still will get much worse before it gets better. But at the end of the day, it will get better because there's something that all of these people in power, as much as they try to overwhelm us with bad actions and bad news, what all of them realize is that there will come a time where they push too far, and the sheer numbers and will of the people will never take it lying down. One of the things that Americans, all of our allies, can openly speak to this. I'm sure you gentlemen that have been deployed before and have worked with our NATO allies can attest to this, is that Americans are the most pig-headed, stubborn sons of bitches on this planet. And we will never allow ourselves to completely fall down and obey and comply. And the powers that be are trying to overwhelm us mentally, emotionally, and physically right now with daily bad news to get us, to break us like a horse in a ditch. But we will, at the end of the day, buck them off because we do have that muscle meat. We do have the numbers. To put out kind of a cowboy analogy to some people over there who've ever broken a horse before, we're not going to be one of those horses that just obeys. And we never will. Someone put out a statement the other day, this account I follow on Instagram called Harry something. And he just had a little box that said, stop saying we're cooked. Everybody keeps on saying we're so cooked. Stop saying we're cooked. Let me remind you that our country has never in its history lost to fascism. That doesn't mean that we haven't dealt with fascism before.
That's right.
But we have never in our history ever lost to fascism. So stop saying we're cooked. This fight may be a while bit longer, but I end every single one of my posts, almost every single one of my posts, in saying stronger together, together stronger, because people need to be reminded, because they are being so overwhelmed, that we do have the numbers and we do have the will and we will never give up.
Greatly outnumber these people. greatly outnumber them, and they know it. And that's the thing. What they're doing right now is what you said earlier. It is a death rattle. It is a fear reaction. And so it's like when Mario's brother took aim on a street in New York City. Because I tend to code my words on things like that. When that happened, these oligarchs lost their shit.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is a fear reaction. This putting the boot on the neck of the working class is a fear reaction, and Americans need to realize that, and they need to remember how you thought and felt when you saw the video of that, when you heard the news of that, and then when you watched as the oligarchy kind of freaked out for a minute and realized that, wait a second, we're not actually literally bulletproof, because they think they are, because they live in a weird life that we could never even fathom, and they don't understand ours, guys. And so this right here, what this man is speaking, right, is the truth. You need to listen up. This is the real truth. Do not lose hope.
Yeah.
This is what we need to be focusing on.
Yeah, we do have more numbers. I don't condone. I always say, especially with these ICE raids and stuff like that, and warrantless seizures and things of this nature, especially when we're seeing an escalation of people literally dressing up and posing as ICE officers and stuff to go out and carry out nefarious actions. I always tell people, read up on your state self-defense laws, read up on your state's Good Samaritan laws, and arm yourselves, but act in defensive measures, never offensive. What the Luigi person did, there was no one but the rich people that were sad about it. That's just a lot of people.
Unfortunate truth, yeah.
A lot of people were shocked. They weren't necessarily happy about it. And
we weren't happy. We were shocked, but we weren't surprised.
But the only people that were really, really sad and scared about it were the rich people. But I will say outright, I believe in the rule of law, even though elected officials don't and the president doesn't. I do believe in defensive measures over offensive measures to protect yourself, your persons, and protect others, innocent others. At the core of me is the protection and safety of others, even before myself. People say, put the air mask on yourself when a plane goes down. I don't have that within me. I can hold my breath for 4 minutes, 2 minutes. I'm getting older now. And put the air mask on a child sitting next to me in the plane. I know you got to help yourself in order to help other people, but all I'm saying is that it's a dangerous time in our country right now. I do suggest people arm themselves. If you're a first-time buyer, don't just buy, but actually take training classes, learn how to clear malfunctions, do speed drills, become a truly responsible owner, because more firearms in a nation does not equal a safer nation. But yeah, I just think that it is getting to that point where this oligarch authoritarian rule is on the precipice of pushing too far, and have greatly underestimated the will of the people and the population size of the people.
So you had mentioned something that I wanted to just ask about before we try and wrap things up real quick. When you had talked about that there needed to be a recount, I know that the guys are probably going to stop me here, but just bear with me for a second, because I'm the big nerd of the group, right? I'm the tech. I do all the tech stuff.
Okay.
And so other nerds and other techs have been talking about how we've been gaming out how there could have been a problem with the counting machines, right? The machines that do the counting, because all along there were speculations that it was the voting machines.
No,
right?
I think it was the tabulators, the counting machines.
wrecked. And so
Yeah.
what happened was really smart people got together and they ran some testing. And they came to find out, and there's charts and graphs and stuff on this, and it's freaking amazing. What they showed was this graph that should show two parallels lines showing of like discrepancies. What it was like an X instead of, it was like an up and down X, like a perfect cross of up
Are
and
you
down.
talking about the ETA Election Truth Alliance data?
Yes.
Okay,
So you saw it recently too.
Yeah, I've seen it all. Here's my biggest thing about ETA is that one, it's a private organization. It's not a government organization.
Right.
I love the data that they're showing, and hey, even before they compiled all that data, I knew and I believed in my heart that it was from 2022 when Heritage Foundation inserted election board members in the swing states, that they then had open access to be able to do malicious activities, like perhaps insert a flash drive that would flip the numbers on a tabulation machine. I don't know. I can't prove it. I will say that anyone who had the power to do anything about it didn't. And that's the biggest problem.
Right.
And why we are where we are today. So Election Truth Alliance.
Well, and the fact that they had Project 2025 all written up, ready to go, and had his name inserted, everything in it, and they're plowing through. They've already got 50% of it done by now. It all is just real freaking suspicious.
I mean,
that was all before the election.
for sure. It's out in the open. I'll just say that I appreciate the work an organization like Election Truth Alliance does. I'm kind of sick and tired of people sending me DMs with their videos about their findings, because just to be frank, because it's something that we all kind of suspect and kind of know, but the fact of the matter is this is where we are today. So we need to move forward and plan to move forward and take actions to move forward, because there are no mechanisms. Even if a court follows through in a timely manner, which is unheard of, about the Election Truth Alliance data, there's still no mechanisms other than impeachment to remove Trump. And then we get J.D. Vance, who is part of the scheme as well. So we don't have anything that could have been done, should have been done. So now I just have to plan from today moving forward to fix this mess we're in.
Well, that's why I brought it up.
Because one way or another, Donald Trump and his administration is getting kicked out of office, because they are on the path of pushing too far.
Well, that's why I brought it up, because I also happen to be an election volunteer for several years here in North Carolina.
Thank you.
And you're welcome.
It's not an easy job, I'm sure.
No, and I don't like getting up and showing up any place at 5 o'clock in the morning for 14 hours straight. I'm very grumpy, but I do love doing it because the ladies that are there with me are very awesome people. But the question that I have is that my specialty is security, system security. So yeah, I'm very familiar with the fact that you can take a thumb drive, program it, pop it into something, and load stuff up and run code and stuff like that. I do that. I literally programmed one this morning. And so, and by the way, anybody paying attention, I am nowhere near voting machines or anything when I go and work the books. I actually work on the voting book. It's paper. I have a pen. So, but I go,
especially with the advent of AI and coding that can be implemented on flash drives, it is so easy to be able to change scripts just within milliseconds of inserting a flash drive, a thumb drive.
Right. So when this happened, a lot of people came to me because of my experience and because of what I do for a living, and they were asking me, "Hey, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think?" So I did a bunch of research in it, and I came back and I said, "Hey, the numbers aren't numbering, right? The first tranche of information that came through, right? It looked weird, right? But it wasn't like unprecedented weird. But this stuff with the tabulation information is unprecedented. But my concern is not about, we can't change that, what happened, okay? My concern is it looks like they're going to need a little more time to finish what they're doing. And my concern is about the next election, because I'm
I feel
volunteering
you.
again, and
I feel you.
I
You know,
am very concerned with what is going to happen. I've volunteered now to be a floater on the next election, to go to wherever they need me instead of my district.
Right.
And I'm concerned about, like, I see a lot of long lines and stuff like that, and the regular stuff that we have to deal with. And now worrying about, like, if the tabulation machines are going to be broken, we're worried about people
Right.
being run off from polling places because there's people sitting in their pickup trucks with guns and stuff like that. I mean,
I hear you. No, it's a genuine concern, and I think the only way. I mean, Donald Trump says he wants paper ballots, but he's only saying that because he knows every state can't afford to implement paper ballots and hand counting. Yeah, that's the only reason why he's saying it. We do need hand counted paper ballots.
we absolutely do, and we need mail-in voting, and we need election day off.
We absolutely need mail-in voting, but that and we should retain mail-in voting, especially for our military personnel and expats living abroad, especially for our military, our service members, and our disabled.
Wait, is he getting rid of mail-in voting for military as well?
He wants to get rid of mail-in voting everywhere entirely.
They can't do that for expats and military. They're still citizens.
But think of who you're speaking about.
Oh my God.
They will try to do anything they want. As far as security of the upcoming election, it's a genuine concern. I would love to see, like, Jeff Jackson's AG office institute like some kind of even state trooper overwatch, or various counties attorney generals or prosecutors, some kind of overwatch on the board of elections officials when they are conducting their tabulation. So it's not just up to a trust me bro code. I'm an election board official, and that's it. Because I don't trust the board of elections. I don't trust that in any of the swing states. In any of the swing states. And even though North Carolina, out of all the states, has the most bipartisan board of elections, because that's how it was set in motion by the governor's office. But the GOP legislation is trying to tear that power apart as well. So I would love to see a third-party overwatch on board of elections officials when tabulations are happening, to secure that and make it happen in like a skiff. Like
oh no, we can't have skiffs anymore. Like unless it's in Donald Trump's bathroom. In
I know. But I want to have it in an electronic-free room. So you're not allowed to bring your phone in. You're not allowed to bring anything with you into the tabulation machine. That's it. Just the data, and that's it. Nothing. I mean, like who said Pablo Escobar before? I'm having visions of like, naked workers that are doing their work so that they ensure they don't steal anything. You know what I mean? That's where our voting is too. That's where our voting has turned into now. So election integrity is absolutely a valid concern, but there are things we can do to ensure it. So it really is dependent, especially on stuff like that, because we have time before the 2026 midterms to pressure your attorney general's office, to pressure your legislature, and to really put pressure on them and do what I am trying to do on the federal level and call out the corruption. You know what? These people online, these communities online, they don't take shit from anyone. If your legislator is on the take and you know it, man, call that shit out. Get on it. Bully the hell out of them. And then
I will. I love to bully people.
And then don't just call them out, but put a spotlight. Don't just call them out, but also put a spotlight on who is buying them, and their corporation, and their CEO of that business, and CTO of that business. Everybody, name them, put them on blast, because it is up to all of us, the people, to shine a spotlight on this crap, to end it once and for all, so that we actually bring back the power of the people to the people.
Well, you let us know when you hear about something that we need to bring attention to, and
you
we
know
will
I
put
will.
that on blast.
I
Okay.
will, absolutely. I really appreciate being here. I'm really honored by the invite, especially with the former military personnel, drill sergeant. It's my absolute pleasure and honor, and Sons of Liberty, my pleasure and honor as well. My website is Clayton4NC.com. You can donate on there. I don't accept any foreign funded organizations like APAC. I don't accept super PACs. And for registered Democrats and registered Republicans, I hate to break this to you, but the DNC is a super PAC. The RNC is a super PAC. I don't accept any super PAC or any corporate PAC money. I think our representatives need to get rid of all that crap and the stock buys and their major massive donors and get back to only their constituents can donate to them, because that's who they're actually helping. So I really appreciate your time here and having me on. And I hope I was clear and concise, even though I get a little passionate and sidetracked on things. But
You're
We
excellent.
foster passion here, so bring it on.
I appreciate that greatly. Stronger together, stronger always. Power to the people, man. We got this. We have to, because what's the alternative?
Yeah, absolutely.
Death.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for the engagement. I love it.
I appreciate it.
Representative to be Clayton, North
That is right.
Carolina's 5th district. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you so
I
much
know
for
you gotta
having
get
me.
out of here, so I'm seizing control of the conversation so that you stop answering questions. Because we
Bye,
want
everyone.
you to adhere to your schedule and not ours. All right. So his website, Clayton4NC, as in NovemberCharlie.com. Upcoming live streams tomorrow. Special live stream tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern. We have Kat Abughazaleh, a returning guest.
Y'all
If
always
you
do this
don't
shit
know
while
who
I'm at work.
Kat Abughazaleh
Right.
is, then you need to go fix yourself and go Google that shit, because number one, she's been on our live stream before, and number B, she's gonna be here tomorrow. What's
What
funny?
time? What time?
And
is
letter three.
4
She's in the
p.m.
streets. She's in the streets,
She
getting
is in the
arrested and
streets.
beat down
She
by
is
ICE
for the
people
streets,
standing up.
in the streets, facing down ICE, saying Chingalamira. I don't know how they say it in Persian Farsi, which I think might be, I don't think it's her native tongue,
I
but she's
swear to
definitely.
God, you guys do this
That's,
stuff while
you
I'm
know
at
what?
work.
That's okay. I'll be here to represent for you. You know, you don't have to be there. I will take that bullet for you
I
gladly.
appreciate that. You go ahead.
Gladly.
I'm gonna give you the I'm gonna give you my what you call it? This thing here. What's this called? Logo?
So tomorrow
we good.
Tomorrow
I'm
we
good
got
with
Kat
Kendra.
Abughazaleh at 4 p.m.
Nice.
She is running for Illinois 9th District. She is up there in Chicago right now, fighting the good fight. We're going to talk to her about putting Sons of Liberty, Fam of Liberty in Chicago to help bolster whatever they've got going on there. For those of you who are watching this live stream, we have active groups working in Memphis, Portland, and Chicago, and they've already been working together. So we're gonna have a private conversation with those people and figure out how all of those 3 cities, our members, can get on the same page, and then we're gonna open that up and have activities for people who want to help, instead of just shit posting on social media and changing your profile picture because of internet slacktivism. Anyway, I digress. October 21st, which is a Tuesday, our usual time, we've got Chris Volpe, who is running for Senate in Ohio. October 28th, which is also a Tuesday at 7 p.m., our usual time. Hold on to your ass cheeks, because we have rebooked or rescheduled, I might correct myself, Monty Mader. We were supposed to have Monty back in September. There was a scheduling conflict. Monty has rescheduled. If you don't know who Monty Mader is, get on your little Googles right now and type in MONTE space MADER And after you get over the jaw-droppingness that I experienced, I want you to read up on Monty Mater. Then, on potentially November the 4th, but currently November 11th, we have Squid Tips. We had an opening pop open on the 4th, so Squid Tips might be shuffled back earlier to November the 4th. I am also actively working to book Carlos Alvarez Araños of American Opposition. I've met and hung out with Carlos a number of times at protests over the past few months. I'm currently talking with him on Signal, although I've kind of delayed that for about 30 minutes because I was doing the live stream. I am potentially working on maybe Stormy Daniels and a couple other potential guests. So make sure you stay tuned to our motherfucking live stream that we have every motherfucking Tuesday, as well as a couple of extra special days that we talk about all the time. Every live stream we give the schedule. Big Stars Just Rant videos where we talk about the schedule and you just skip past it because you're like, I don't care about live stream. Fuck all that. No. Don't miss Kat Abughazaleh tomorrow. Don't miss Monty Mater. Don't miss Chris Volpe. Don't miss any of our live streams. Speaking of live streams, Saturday, November the 15th.
Yes.
Sons of Liberty admins. We got admin Matt, admin Asia,
Woo.
admin V, and admin Elo are playing Dungeons and Dragons. And guess who the fucking DM is? The Dungeon Master. Dungeon Daddy. I'm going to be wearing my Dungeon Daddy shirt all day long to piss off all the people who are like, that's misogynistic. That's
inappropriate.
That's inappropriate.
Wait till he hears all the characters.
Shaming bitches. Anyway, we also have 2 Fam of Liberty members who are joining us. We have, I'm not even giving out their names. I'm not going to give out their names. You just tune in for that. Anyway, we'll be running a couple of, hopefully
He forgot. He totally forgot.
No, I didn't forget. I'm literally staring at it right here. I got my little notes on.
Yeah.
I wrote my notes on this napkin, but
this blank napkin where I have my notes.
this blank napkin with my notes. Anyway, additionally, Saturday we have the No Kings protests that we're supporting all across the country. If you're going to a protest, get on Signal with your Fam of Liberty and figure out where everybody's going to be, because that's where you want to be, because you want to support the action. Then
I'm a rogue.
CRT.
5th of November, we have a protest in Washington, D.C. that is also going to encompass visiting congressional offices like we did back on 2nd of September, I think it was. I might have the date wrong. I don't know. I'm shooting from the hip. Pew, pew. Then later in November, on a date I can't yet announce, we're having another protest with direct action for things that I can't yet announce because it hasn't been officially approved yet. And I don't want to get yelled at by people that are higher than me on the food chain for the Removal Coalition. So stay tuned to our socials and our YouTube, and make sure that you are there on the 15th of November for our D&D game. We're raising money for a charity called Stack Up. The way that we raise money is through the Twitch channel. There's a platform called Tiltify. Your donation goes through Tiltify directly to the charity Stack Up, which is a 501c. It is a veteran-owned charity that gives back to actively serving and veterans through the power of gaming and geek culture. Stack Up is a well-respected charity. I've known them for over 10 years, when they were also previously known as whichever, Operation Supply Drop. So you're going to donate through Tiltify on our Twitch channel. And when you donate, you get the option to pick, depending on what it is that you're donating, you get to pick, like, if admin Matt is going to say something, you can quickly donate $5, $10, and say, I want admin Matt to do this instead with his character. And if you see that I'm doing something with an NPC, you can donate real fast, be like, I'm going to change the NPC's actions. Or you can donate to, say, give admin Asia a magical item to help her out with a puzzle, a trap that she is faced with. Or if you think the party is beating the crap out of my NPCs, you can donate to give, say, an NPC a magical item that can level the playing field, and I do mean level. Anyway, those are some suggestions on ideas that you can do with your donations through Tiltify. I'll be talking more about that in future upcoming videos. What else have I forgotten? Because I got notes here.
You need to apologize to Janet by suggesting she could be replaced with a napkin.
I didn't suggest Janet is irreplaceable. How dare you, madam?
Absolutely. There you go.
I just write shit on a napkin because
no, she's your note.
If I clipped over onto like a notepad document, I'll be doing this all night. There's the other side of my monitor. There's the other side of my monitor.
I'm just doing that because she's in the chat right now.
All right.
Okay.
Oh,
there she is. Damn straight, she says.
I am working on putting finishing touches on the first episode of the Sons of Liberty Civil War docu-series that we crowdfunded. Will be let's see, episodes that I have. I've got Harriet Tubman's raid up the Combahee River to liberate enslaved people on plantations. They also burned the fuck out of the Confederacy. What's the other ones? The Battle of the Nueces out in Texas. There is the Shelton Laurel Massacre, and there is going to be Drunken Civil War History with Big Sarge. You can be there in person. We still have to figure out where we want to do that, though. So,
Gettysburg.
Those are the things. I want to go to Gettysburg, but again, we set a crowdfunding goal, and we only hit 50% of that goal. So, a potential option is I could run another crowdfunder in April for the people that just discovered who we were, and that because we've grown like 30,000 views in like a month, so they didn't get to participate. So we could theoretically run another campaign to make up the other half, and then I could go to Gettysburg as a reenactor on a horse and be in the cavalry charge. How about that shit? You want to see that? You want to see me put on a Civil War uniform and get on a horse and be like, "Take me closer, horse. I want to hit them with my chainsword."
Janet, can you book us a horse? We need a horse booked for Gettysburg.
Anyway, our budget only covered a handful of episodes because making shit is not cheap when you have to hire.
Eljo just volunteered to do more research for you.
And fly everybody to places to go look at things and pay bribes to park rangers.
Are you paying attention to Eljo in chat? She just volunteered to do research for you, and she has a horse.
Oh, God.
Eljo's been doing research with me since well before she got vetted, because I knew Eljo before.
She just said she's down to do more research, and she has a horse. Horse.
I don't want to talk to Eljo about horses because I don't want to make suggestive innuendo, and it's gonna
start then,
right? You mean
it's gonna start then,
right? Okay.
And on that note, I exit.
He is yielding the balance of his time.
I'm yielding the balance of my time.
I'm reclaiming my time.
Yeah. Reclaiming my time.
All right, we've reached the kazoo phase of the program.
Oh Lord!
At the horse.
Yeah,
my time.
I was thinking to myself when the video was playing prior to the stream starting, our BWC film stuff. When the Western theme came on, I was like, I should add some kazoo to that.
Oh my God, that would be amazing. I'm really starting to warm up to the kazoo, and I hate the kazoo.
I'm out of here, guys. Y'all crazy.
Good night.
I'll come play the kazoo for you.
Kazoo. Every day is suffering.
All right. That's going to be our time for tonight. Thank you all for coming to the Church of the Sons of Liberty. I'm Reverend Big Sarge. Joining me was Deacon Drill Sergeant, Sister Asia,
Goddess Asia,
and Brother Matt.
Good
Time for the benediction. 2 claps and a rig.
Woo!
Fuck Donald Trump, bitch.
Hell yeah.
That's right.
Let's go for the throat
Amen.
punch.
Amen.